Hey everyone, Y2K is a new techno horror comedy directed by Kyle Mooney that takes a nostalgic and twisted look back at the turn of the millennium, a time when the world feared technology might fail catastrophically and cast us back into prehistoric times of 8-track tapes and striking flint to make fire. But in Y2K, those fears play out just a little bit differently, leading to very dramatic consequences. Before we jump in, please do give this review a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos because there are more coming, and I can't wait to see you in those videos. All right, so Y2K is set on New Year's Eve, 1999, following Eli and his friends as they celebrate the turn of the millennium. Eli, one of the geeks at school, is crushing on Laura, a cool hacker chick who also happens to be one of the popular kids and totally out of his league. When the clock strikes midnight, everything goes haywire. The lights go out, chaos erupts, and what starts as a party turns into a campy horror survival story. Together, Eli and Laura battle killer robots while trying to save humanity. Interesting setup, nice premise. The cast is a surprising mix of newcomers and familiar faces. Jaeden Martell plays Eli, giving a solid performance that really captures the essence of a sweet, slightly goofy and geeky teenager. He's relatable, self-aware, and very charming in his awkwardness. And he's honestly the most compelling character in the film. I really enjoyed him in this part. Rachel Zegler plays Laura. And she actually took me by surprise on this one. I didn't realize she was in the film until right before I went in. She plays the cool hacker with a soft spot for Eli. She does a fine job with her role. She's a good actress, but there really are times when she seems a little distracted. It also felt like maybe she was using this role as kind of a step toward trying to kind of work past some of her on, or I should say off screen controversies by doing this quirky indie film. And I think that's actually a good note to kind of drill in on here is indie films are a really great way for actors to kind of step out and do something new. And I do think Rachel Zegler, she's had a lot of troubles, and I think this was an opportunity for her to kind of hit that reset button and try to repair her public image. And for the most part, I think she actually does a good job in this film. And just should note, in case Rachel is, I don't know, watching my video, Rachel, just stop talking. Like, don't respond. Just call it quits. Don't respond to anybody. All these things will pass eventually if you stop talking. All right, back on script. So, speaking of other actors, Alecia Silverstone, who I also love, was in this film playing Eli's mother. The funny thing was, she was great in the film, but I literally did not recognize her because she looks so different. I think she's maybe been less active as well. And so Y2K might be her way of kind of recharging her career. And then, of course, there's like the biggest surprise of all with Fred Durst in the cast. And he's the front man of Limp Bizkit for you youngins who might not know who Fred Durst is. Most of you probably will. But he surprisingly was so good. He was so satisfying in this role. His appearance really was, I don't know, it was like the cherry on top of the cake. He was himself in this film, which was even more fun to see Fred Durst playing Fred Durst in the film. It's very meta. So he was quirky, he was funny, and it was just really strange to see him in there, but it really worked well, especially in the context of this movie. So, like Zegler, like Silverstone, I think Fred Durst in Y2K was really kind of sparking his own career in some way to kind of reignite things and to create that career relevance that maybe he's trying to get back to. And you know what? Good for him. Good for you, Fred Durst. You go for it. I hope this does give you some more opportunities because you deserve them. Anyway, the film captures the technological anxieties of 1999 as people worried about Y2K collapsing our technology infrastructure and causing global chaos as the calendar rolled over to the next year, to 2000. Y2K plays on these fears by depicting a scenario where technology doesn't actually fail, but it does turn against humanity. The film does a great job of capturing the look and the feel of the digital world with great attention to the details, from the pixelated computer desktops and the AOL classic dial-up connection to the portrayal of the early internet culture. These elements ground the film into this era and serve as a reminder of how far technology has come since then. It just captures the spirit of the old school tech, and it really is the strongest part of the film. The film really nails that 1990 setting, from the costumes to the toys to the knickknacks and the desktop computers, like all of it. The opening scene features Eli logging into AOL, and the spazzy little animation of Laura's website sets the tone perfectly for the film. These moments feel authentic and really transport us back to 1999. The film also taps into the musical spirit of 1999 with its soundtrack, though I gotta say, it leans a little too heavily on rap music. And while this genre was undeniably popular at the time, it felt like the filmmakers missed an opportunity to showcase a broader range of late 90s music, including, of course, Seattle grunge and the whole grunge scene, or even, if we want to get a little poppy, Cher's song Believe, which actually was one of the top 10 grossing songs of the year. And it used auto-tune in this really innovative way that felt very techy. And I actually think it would have been on par for this film had they used it. So the big musical miss was not having a hint of Prince's song 1999, which was literally playing at every club and every party. And it was the unofficial anthem of the night. And yeah, I gotta say, DJing at a club that night, because I used to be a DJ, um, I know this stuff to be true. That song was the song of the night. And the fact that it wasn't playing at all just felt a little off. Anyway, being a music diva, so apologize. I will get past it. I'm working through it right now. All right, we're all done. While the film captures the vibe of the time, its scope feels a little bit too narrow. The characters' interests and behaviors, particularly their hyper obsession with drugs, feels way exaggerated. Well, drugs were definitely a thing back then. Well, heck, they're a thing now too, and they were a thing before then. But I gotta say, the teens and the adults, they were just obsessed by these things. There were all these inside jokes on drugs, and yeah, I get it, but it was a little overdone, and it felt like a convenient hat trick in the story rather than an authentic addition for all of the characters to be doing drugs or thinking about drugs or talking about drugs to the extent that we see. There was just too much of it. Also, while the killer robots are super fun concept, their rapid rise and capabilities strain credibility. And I know I'm a super tech geek, sorry guys, but you know, I gotta say, this is so true, especially since the killer virus also infected electronics without Wi-Fi or without the capacity to process data at any significant rate. The film just doesn't explain how these machines got suddenly so much smarter, and they didn't have the hardware to actually enable that. And they were able to actually build themselves up almost instantaneously into these monster creatures. And it just felt like it should have taken more than a matter of minutes for this to happen. It just felt rushed and it felt implausible. If you try to apply logic, it just falls apart. Instead, It works better as a metaphor for the fear of technology breaking down, only to have something far, far worse happen. The movie struggles to settle on a tone. It tries to be horror, but then it tries to be comedy, and then it tries to be a thriller, and then it tries to be a romantic coming of age story. But by attempting so many genres simultaneously, it ends up being less than the sum of its parts, let's say. It's not particularly funny, it's not that scary, and it's not that emotionally resonant, which leaves it feeling a bit scattered. Despite its deficiencies, Y2K is absolutely an interesting exploration of millennial fears, flipping the narrative from technology failing to technology turning against humanity. And I do think one of the things that I really liked about this film is that it was all about the millennial shift from, 99 to 2000. And I gotta say, like, they really did lean in hard on getting the millennial crowd, the kids born during the year or right around that year, to come into the theaters for the pre-screenings. So kudos to them on knowing how to market this film. But I gotta say, overall, this film absolutely encapsulates all of the anxieties and the optimism of the time, offering this really nostalgic yet chaotic experience. While it's an entertaining film during various points of the story, the film's occasional lack of focus, its inconsistencies, and those big logic gaps tend to hold it back from realizing its full potential. If you're into campy horror comedies with a bit of nostalgia and don't mind having to actively kind of suspend your disbelief, you might enjoy Y2K. But for me, it was, I don't know, fairly forgettable and ranked as a streaming or matinee worthy film rather than like a feature night out film. So, is it worth the price of the ticket? I think so if you're going to a matinee. I'll put it that way. Yeah, it's a matinee film. Absolutely. All right. So, Y2K, did you see it? Or better yet, were you there to experience the big shift or were you born that year? If you've seen the film, let me know your thoughts and put those in the comments and let's talk about it. Because I love to hear your take on this nostalgic techno horror flick because I might be a little bit too hard on it, having lived through the time, having been a DJ, and also being a tech geek. So I might be being a little bit too precious here. So let me know what you think. And remember to give this review a thumbs up and subscribe for more in order to let YouTube know what you think because YouTube is a monster and it is a machine and it loves its algorithm and it really likes your likes. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this review and there are definitely more coming. So be sure to stay tuned and why not watch one of these reviews? See what you think. All right, everybody. See you later. Bye for now.